Well, today's episode is going to be a bit of a short one with only one review. We're going to do AEW Dynamite. We're going to review everything that took place, such as like what title matches took place and all this and that. And of course, we got some news updates. We're definitely going to be sharing what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling, much like okay, which events are being announced, who's going to be booked, and all this. And we got some other things that we definitely going to be putting out there for everybody. And I'll explain why at the end of this video, why I decided to keep it shorter. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Gerard here. So, let's begin with AEW Dynamite. We open up with a title match, the AEW International title between Orange Cassidy and, of course, Daniel Garcia. Now, as you know, Daniel Garcia made this match because he feels that he's sick and tired that a guy who's not even in his standard, either an embarrassment to what he is. But we have seen Orange Cassidy thrive to the occasion. Now we know that that Orange Cassidy's right hand has been the target of opportunity against any opponent. As you know, he is currently undefeated in singles match. But it was a pretty good match. However, it took one pinfall for a mistake made by Daniel Garcia in order for Orange Cassidy to pick up a good win. So this is a huge disappointment for Garcia. So we'll see what happens then. Now, while this was happening, Excalibur was getting information that something is going down in the backstage area, and we did not expect this. We saw Miro. It's still unclear what was he doing, so he just walked into Tony Khan's office. Now, to speed the process along, we turns out that he wasn't the only one. Renee Paquette was still waiting outside to find out what is Miro doing there. While she was waiting, another familiar face showed up, and that is none other than the former AEW Women's Champion, Thunder Rosa. So that's kind of interesting to see. So big surprises that go on this particular episode of the AEW Dynamite. Now, FTR, as you know, they've been trying to come out. They wanted to apologize to Mark Briscoe for what just took place. However, Jeff Jarrett, let's call these guys the dickwads, which consistent of Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, and Satnam Singh. They've been asking for a long time now for a shot of these tag team titles. They've been trying to do this, but however, once again, the mind games are being played. They're saying they were willing to give them opportunities unless they admit that they're been using Mark Briscoe to get to him. Of course, they're not going to say it because they're very manipulated. The last time these guys chased these titles, they were unsuccessful against the Acclaim. But now the FTR have to dig deeper now, knowing that they've been, ever since their return, they've been having huge targets on the back, and by accident, Cash Wheeler accidentally power drive Mark Briscoe. This was another mind games by the dickwads themselves. Now, during an interview cast by Renee Paquette, we see Chris Jericho, who has issued a court order to keep Adam Cole. He calls him a coward for what he did, saying that as long as he is in the building, Adam Cole is not in the building. But however, he bumps into Roderick Strong. He's telling him, that, oh, you're only defending someone who is this and that. But Roderick Strong said that he'll put him in a match, but it's not going to be an ordinary match. I believe he said that it's going to be a false count anywhere. But however, he outsmarted him, saying that we're going to have this match, but the Jericho Appreciation Society are banned from it. So basically, Jericho's not that smart as he thought he was. So that's going to be interesting to see. Now, Tony Khan said that there's going to be a big announcement, but that big announcement will be, um, of course, revealed next week. But I will. There's been talk about this. I will reveal that about that on the wrestling news update on the news updates a little bit later. But we'll get to that. Our next match is the. Oh no, never mind. I messed up. My notes are so messed up. Sorry guys. The opening match was the double jeopardy match. I forgot about that. That one is a very interesting matchup that took place. We have Claudio Castagnoli and Ray Phoenix. Now, here's the deal how it goes down. If Ray Phoenix wins, he gets an opportunity of the Ring of Honor World title. However, if Claudio Castagnoli beats Ray Phoenix, he gets a shot of the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles. So the obvious question does tell who will be teaming up with them. I mean, any way possible it could happen. I mean, you can team up with Bryan Danielson or Wheeler Yuta or John Moxley, but I don't think it matters as long as they try to obtain these tag titles. But however, this match ended with a sitting power bomb by by Claudio Castagnoli, and that pretty much it. It's still unclear when will this match between them is going to happen. Now, Christian Cage, as you know, shows up with Luchasaurus. He once again goes on the daddy route, insulting about this. He calls Arn Anderson that he abandoned his own son, Brock, who, is still learning. He feels like, oh, you only did this because you're siding with Warlow. So that kind of goes. He takes it very personal. But I wouldn't be surprised if Brock decides to deal with him. But we'll see what happens then. Now, our next match is a no holds barred match between Julia Hart and Anna Jay. Now, Anna Jay has feel that Julia Hart has been, of course, brainwashed by the House of Black. She considers herself with the JSA as family, but of course, Malachi Black said this that the JSA are not a family; they're a cult. That the House of Black are a real family. But this one was a much brutal match between both Julia Hart and Anna Jay. Now, of course, Anna Jay's always saying that she's going to choke out her opponent, but this time she did not because apparently she ended up being heartless by Julia Hart, allowing herself to win. However, does this tell, is this over between them? I don't know. I hate to see that this is going to keep continuing, but I hope it does end. Now, we do see a bit of an interview with Renee with Orange Cassidy, along with Best Friends and Bandito. However, Best Friends and Bandito had a stipulation because there will be involved. They got involved in the open house challenge for the trios titles against the House of Black. They said no witches are allowed. So that's kind of interesting. But you can tell this match was going to be absolute insanity. However, this one ended with Brody King applying Dante's Inferno on Chuck Taylor and this and that. However, something happened in the backstage. You see Orange Cassidy lying down in the ground, and then here comes Kyle Fletcher declaring himself the next challenger for the AEW International title. Now we do know that the Aussie Open are determined to prove why they run the world the the United Empire. It's still unclear why is that, but we don't know what's the purpose. But there's still no indication when this match will take place. But I'm going to presume that this match could happen possibly next week. Now, our main event is the steel cage match between Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega. Now, this rivalry between between the Elite and BBC Blackpool Combat Club has taken it to a toll. Of course, Claudio and Wheeler Yuta were going to be there to run interference to make sure that Jon Moxley wins, but the Bucks were there to give a helping hand. Now, when things seems like they were getting were going exactly like we expected, Don Callis tried to help, but Kenny did manage to save him from Jon Moxley until he applied the V trigger, then the One Wing Angel. But the unexpected thing, of course, Don Callis stabbed Kenny Omega and all this and that. Bryan Danielson grinning, saying all this and that, but it did allow for Jon Moxley to pick up the win. So it was unclear why he did it. I mean, Alex Malvarez during an exclusive content that they put on Twitter try to get words and say, I thought you guys were family. So it's still unclear. But this one was a very interesting one development that I saw. The Bucks were carrying Kenny to the back. Kenny said this: "If I can't trust family, then who can I trust?" Now, this is a very interesting thing that took place right after. Scott Edwards from Fightful Select posted a photo of one person that he feels Kenny can trust, and that person, of course, is Kota Ibushi. Now, this could lead to history repeating itself. Now, if you guys remember, back in 2018, Kenny Omega was dealing with the whole Cody Rhodes, the Bucks, and all that turning their backs on them because of what transpired. However, the one person that Kenny did was able to rely on was Kota Ibushi. I wouldn't be surprised if that's where we're heading. If we know that Kota Ibushi is interested in being in AEW, but it's still unclear when could that happen. So I'm looking forward to see if that does. I mean, it would be an amazing story to say that Kenny found someone he can rely on. This is almost similar to what we're seeing with Tam Nakano when she realized that her whole world is falling apart, and what happened? Saudi Noi saved the Cosmic Angels out of nowhere. Almost similar to that. But if Kota Ibushi will show up and be there for Kenny, it could change everything. So we'll see what happens till then. So I think that's pretty much it. So let's move on with news updates. Okay, welcome to our news updates. Now, this was announced recently. Now, as you know, the annual tournament champion of Carnival is over. The winner is Shotaro Ashino. He became this year's. However, much like we'll be seeing with tournaments, he gets the opportunity to challenge for the Triple Crown Championship, which is currently being held by none other than Blue Justice, Yuji Nagata. However, apparently, Ashino has announced that he's going to be sidelined. It's still no clear indication when he'll be back. He broken his arm. But as for our champion, Yuji Nagata said he is still willing to defend the Triple Crown Championship on the 29th of this month. Now, no opponent has been announced. I'm sure that all Japan officials are looking for a perfect opponent. But we'll see what happens then. Now, West Coast Pro has announced for their upcoming event, Cruel Summer, that takes place on the 8th of July. They announced that DDT Pro Wrestling star Mao will be making his debut with the promotion. So I'm sure everybody is hearing. Now, I did mention this about the huge announcement that AEW. Now, the speculation has been going on about that maybe there's a new television deal with AEW and Warner Brothers Discovery, so that kind of is on the open air. So basically, there could be numerous shows they want to put under the banner, and possibly the AEW Collision that's been talked about. It's still unclear when will that happen, but if this is what it is, that's going to be announced next week on Wednesday by Tony Khan. Then I'm looking forward to it. Prestige Wrestling has announced for the Black Sunshine event on the 18th of June. Sandra Moon will be in action taking on Rina Yamashita. Spark, Joshi Puroresu of America, has announced that on the Ignite East on the 11th of June, Masha Slime will be participating on that particular event. Now, this one is a very interesting thing about Mina Shirakawa. Now, Mina Shirakawa mentioned her father once before last year. If you guys remembered, there was this moment where Mina and Unagi were in a match where it's like the Cosmic Angels rules match, but Unagi was decided to go out of her mind to remove the top of everybody. Unagi said that Mina felt that this was an embarrassment thing for her because what if her dad was watching? She only mentioned him once. However, she talked about that she has to win the red belt to become double crown champion. Now, why does she has to win? Well, it turns out that Mina and her father, they have a complicated relationship. According to Mina, he runs some sort of company. He disapproved of Mina becoming a pro wrestler. He said to her that she'll never succeed. I know what you all thinking. You probably say, but she succeeded. She win the white belt. I mean, that is something. But she feels that even when she won the white belt, he still hasn't even acknowledged her. That's why she's persistent of obtaining the the red belt, and of course, if it's possible, the IWGP Women's Championship. So basically, she's doing this to have her father acknowledge. She even mentioned that she did want did she said that he's going to invite him to the 27th of May show, the Flashing Champions. Now, the obvious question towards about that particular day, will he show up? That's the thing. But also, to me, this is resemble to Himika's life. If you guys remember, during last year, her father passed away. He never got the chance to see her own daughter, Himika, to wrestle, and I think that's very sad. I wouldn't be surprised if Himika shows up to give her comfort, knowing that what if her father doesn't even show up? Because I'm sure that Mina was trying to gain the approval of her dad, but the obvious thing is, how would it, let's say hypothetically, what happens if she doesn't win the red belt? I mean, there are those who are already talking, saying this match is going to end in a time limit draw. So, I mean, anything's a possibility on that. I mean, to me, I feel that is the most likely outcome because we don't need to see the whole double crown champion thing again. We already saw that with New Japan. We don't need to see it with Stardom. So that kind of thing goes out. But we'll just wait and see what's gonna happen. Now, our last update, this one hits home right here in San Diego, California. Those, if I have any subscribers from the San Diego area, you may have heard the news about the Wrestling Academy Level Up. They announced that they cut all ties with Benny Kuntepe, better known as B-Boy. Now, it's still unclear what's been going on about that. Now, they say they are going to move forward to make uh, Level Up a safe environment for the students, the staff, and the fans. Now, SoCal Uncensored, a Southern California wrestling news outlet out here, reached out to Level Up to find out what's the situation. They even reached out to B-Boy. It's still no clue why. Now, we know last year that Level Up cut all ties with Hunter Freeman. Rumor speculates it had something to do with a domestic violence. They haven't said anything about B-Boy. What's the purpose of what it's been going on? We'll just gotta wait and see it. I know SoCal and Censor will have all the details on that, but we'll just see. So I think that's pretty much it. So let's just, I believe, call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, we do have Impact Wrestling and ROH. I haven't decided if we're going to have another show to review. I haven't decided just yet. However, the reasons I only did this one with just one review, there was some certain things that got in the way from me, mostly personal stuff. But however, I decided, just not to push it, um, because I just came back refreshed and all this. So decided to try to take it easy just a little bit. So we'll see how things will go for the next episode. But like I said, we will do um, Ring of Honor and Impact Wrestling. So we'll go from there. And for now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.